learners, today's topic of discussion is identification test for cations and anions as per Indian Pharmacopoeia 2018. So, before knowing what are cations and anions, we should know what are ions. Ions, which are a part of the science subject chemistry, forms from atom and electron that have either gained or lost their weight by the removal or adding of one or more valence electrons, which would create either positive or a negative charge. The ions with a negative charge are called anions, and the ones with a positive charge are called cations. Since both of them have charges of opposing qualities, they get attracted to one another and thereby forming an ionic bond between them. So, what is cation? Cation are positively charged ions. They are formed when a metal loses its electrons. They lose one or more than one electron and do not lose any protons. Therefore, they possess a net positive charge. Some examples of cations are calcium, potassium, and hydrogen. Now, what we know that anions are? Anions are negatively charged ions. They are formed when nonmetal gains the electrons. They gain one or more than one electron and do not lose any protons. Therefore, they possess a net negative charge. Some examples of anions are iodine, chlorine, hydroxide. Here is the pictorial representation of cations and anions. First, we will deal with cations. In the nucleus, if you see, there are 5 protons, and in the outermost shell, there are 3 electrons. So, if we tally, it gets 2 more protons. Thus how it attains positively charged, because protons have positive charge. So net positive charge is attained by this ion and it becomes cation having 2 positive charge. Now in the case of anions, here the nucleus has 3 protons and the outermost shell has 5 electrons. So when we add up, we get 2 negative charge due to 2 extra electrons than the number of protons. Thus, these ion attains negative charge. Thus how it becomes an ion. Now, here through this picture, it gets clear that how cations and anions are formed. When a neutral atom loses electron or electrons, it gets or it attains net positive charge. Thus, it becomes cation. Whereas, when a neutral atom gains electron or electrons, it attains net negative charge. Thus, it becomes an ion. Here are the list of cations and anions as per Indian Pharmacopoeia. In this topic, we will discuss about the cations, that is, ions having positive charge. Here is the list. The first one is aluminum, then ammonium, antimony, arsenic, barium, bismuth, calcium, ferric salt, ferrous salt, lead, lithium, magnesium, mercury, potassium, silver, sodium, and zinc. Here lithium and mercury have been highlighted because they have not been included in the Indian Pharmacopoeia 2018. Rest all we will discuss individually one by one in our next coming slides. Cations. Here we will discuss about the cations only. So, the first cation which we have to discuss is aluminum. The identification test for aluminum begins with first identification test, that is, dissolve about 20 mg of the substance being examined in 2 ml of water or use 2 ml of the prescribed solution. Add about 0.5 ml of 2-normal hydrochloric acid and about 0.5 ml of thioacetamide reagent. No precipitate forms. Add dropwise 2-normal sodium hydroxide solution. A gelatinous white precipitate appears that redissolves on addition of further sodium hydroxide solution. Gradually add ammonium chloride solution. The gelatinous white precipitate reappears. Below is the chemical reaction involved. When aluminum ion reacts with hydroxyl ion, which is obtained from sodium hydroxide, it results in formation of aluminum hydroxide, which gives you the gelatinous white precipitate, which on further addition of sodium hydroxide, that is excess of NaOH, it results in formation of tetrahydroxyl aluminate ion, which is soluble. Thus how this gelatinous white precipitate, which has formed earlier, it gets disappeared. On further addition of ammonium chloride solution, this gelatinous white precipitate reappears. The second method for identification of aluminum is dissolve about 20 mg of the substance being examined in 5 ml of water or use 5 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 5 drops of ammonium acetate solution and 5 drops of a 0.1% weight by volume solution of Mordant Blue 3rd. An intense purple color is produced. Here is the reaction. Aluminum ion reacts with ammonium acetate and Mordant Blue 3, resulting in formation of intense purple color. The third identification test of aluminum is, to a solution of the substance being examined in water, add dilute ammonium solution until a faint precipitate is produced. Then add 0.25 ml of freshly prepared 0.05% weight by volume solution of quinylizarine in a 1% weight by solution of sodium hydroxide. Heat to boiling, cool and acidify with an excess of acetic acid. A reddish violet color is produced. Here is the reaction. Aluminum ion reacts with ammonia and water, resulting in formation of aluminum hydroxide and ammonia gas when it is boiled and cooled. When this aluminum hydroxide reacts with quinylizarine and sodium hydroxide, it results in formation of reddish violet color. The next cation which we have to discuss is ammonium. The identification test of ammonium begins with the first identification test. Here, heat a few milligram of substance being examined with sodium hydroxide solution. Ammonia is evolved, which is recognizable by its odor and by its action on moist red litmus paper. Ammonium chloride, when reacts with sodium hydroxide, it results in formation of sodium chloride and a water molecule and ammonia gas. This gas is evolving from the reaction mixture, which can be smelled, and its odor is recognizable. When a moist red litmus paper is brought near to the mouth of the test tube where the solution mixture is boiling, the vapor of ammonia turns the color of red litmus paper into blue. The second method of identification of ammonium is as follows. To the prescribed solution, add 0.2 gram of light magnesium oxide, pass a current of air through the mixture and direct the gas that is evolved to just beneath the surface of 1 ml of 0.1 normal hydrochloric acid and 0.05 ml of methyl red solution. The color of the solution changes to yellow. On addition of 1 ml of freshly prepared 10% weight by volume solution of sodium cobalt nitrite, a yellow precipitate forms. Here the ammonium ion reacts with sodium cobalt nitrite to form ammonium cobalt nitrite precipitate, which is a yellow precipitate. Next cation which we have discussed is antimony. Its identification is done as under. Dissolve with gentle heating about 10 mg of the substance being examined in a solution of 0.5 gram of sodium potassium tartarate in 10 ml of water. Allow to cool. Take 2 ml of this solution or 2 ml of the prescribed solution, to which sodium sulfide solution has been added dropwise. A reddish orange precipitate which dissolves on adding dilute sodium hydroxide solution. Here, antimony ion reacts with sulfide ion to give antimony sulfide, the orange-red precipitate which we observe. Next cation is arsenic. Its identification can be done by heating 5 ml of the prescribed solution on a water bath with an equal volume of hypophosphorus reagent. A brown precipitate is formed. Our next cation is barium. The identification test of barium is as under. First method, barium salt imparts a yellowish green color to a non-luminous flame appearing blue when viewed through green glass. Second method of identification of barium is dissolve about 20 mg of the substance being examined in 5 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid. Add 2 ml of dilute sulfuric acid. A white precipitate forms which is insoluble in nitric acid. The reaction is as under. Barium ion reacts with sulfate ion to give barium sulfate which yields the white precipitate. Next cation is bismuth. The identification test of bismuth is as follows. To 0.5 gram of this substance being examined, add 10 ml of 2 normal hydrochloric acid or use 10 ml of the prescribed solution. Heat to boiling for 1 minute, cool and filter if necessary. To 1 ml of the solution obtained, add 20 ml of water. A white or slightly yellow precipitate appears, which on addition of 0.05 to 0.1 ml of sodium sulfide solution turns brown. The reaction followed is as under. Bismuth ion reacts with hydrochloric acid to give bismuth chloride. This bismuth chloride, when dissolved in water, gives bismuth hydroxide. This bismuth hydroxide has as byproduct 2 chloride ion. This chloride ion combines with bismuth hydroxide to form a bigger complex of bismuth hydroxide chloride. This dissociates to give bismuth oxychloride and water molecule. This bismuth oxychloride forms the white precipitate, and when to this bismuth oxychloride we add sodium sulfide, the bismuth ion reacts with sulfide ion to form bismuth sulfide that gives us the brown precipitate. Next cation which we have to deal is calcium. The first identification test of calcium is as follows. Dissolve 20 mg of the substance being examined in 5 ml of 5 molar acetic acid or add 1 ml of glacial acetic acid to 5 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 0.5 ml of potassium ferrocyanide solution. The solution remains clear. Add about 50 mg of ammonium chloride. A white crystalline precipitate is formed. The reaction is as under. When the test substance reacts with potassium ferrocyanide, it results in formation of calcium ferrocyanide, and when this calcium ferrocyanide reacts with ammonium chloride, it forms potassium calcium ferrocyanide which gives the white precipitate. The second method of identification for calcium is as follows. To 5 ml of a 0.4% weight by volume solution of the substance being examined, add 0.2 ml of a 2% weight by volume solution of ammonium oxalate. A white precipitate is obtained that is only sparingly soluble in dilute acetic acid but is soluble in hydrochloric acid. Here, ammonium oxalate dissociates into ammonium ion and oxalate ion. This oxalate ion reacts with the sample having calcium ion and forms calcium oxalate. This calcium oxalate, when treated with hydrochloric acid, it results in formation of calcium chloride and 2 molecules of oxalic acid. The white precipitate which we have obtained is due to the formation of calcium oxalate, and its disappearance is due to formation of calcium chloride by the addition of hydrochloric acid. Third method of identification for calcium is as follows. Dissolve 20 mg of the substance being examined in the minimum quantity of dilute hydrochloric acid and neutralize with dilute sodium hydroxide solution, or use 5 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 5 ml of ammonium carbonate solution. A white precipitate is obtained. After boiling and cooling the mixture, it is only sparingly soluble in ammonium chloride solution. Calcium chloride, when reacts with ammonium carbonate, it results in formation of ammonium chloride and calcium carbonate. This calcium carbonate yields the white precipitate. Our next cation is ferric ion. The identification test for ferric ion is as under. The first method is dissolve a quantity of the substance being examined equivalent to about 10 mg of iron in 1 ml of water, or use 1 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 1 ml of a 5% weight by volume solution of potassium ferrocyanide. An intense blue precipitate is formed, which is insoluble in dilute hydrochloric acid. Here, ferric chloride reacts with potassium ferrocyanide to form ferric ferrocyanide, which yields intense blue color. The second method of identification of ferric ion is to 3 ml of a solution containing about 0.1 mg of iron, or to 3 ml of the prescribed solution, add 1 ml of 2-normal hydrochloric acid and 1 ml of ammonium thiocyanate solution. The solution becomes blood red in color. Now divide the above solution into two parts, each of 1 ml of the mixture. To one portion, add 5 ml of solvent ether, shake and allow to stand. The ether layer is pink in color. To the other portion, add 3 ml of 0.2 molar mercury chloride. The red color disappears. The reaction for above discussed color changes is as under. Ferric chloride, when reacts with ammonium thiocyanate, it results into formation of ferric thiocyanate, which yields blood red color, which is further divided into two portions. To first portion we had added ether, where the ether layer attains pink coloration. In the second portion, we have added mercury chloride. This mercury chloride, when reacts with ferric thiocyanate, it results in formation of mercury thiocyanate, which is a colorless substance. Thus how the red color disappears. The third method for identification of ferric ion is as under. To 2 ml of a solution containing about 0.1 mg of iron, or to 3 ml of the prescribed solution, add acetic acid until the solution is strongly acidic. Add 2 ml of a 0.2% weight by volume solution of 8-hydroxy 7-iodoquinoline 5-sulfonic acid, also known as Ferron reagent. A stable green color is produced. The next cation which we have to deal here is ferrous ion. The identification test for ferrous ion is as under. The first method is dissolve a quantity of the substance being examined corresponding to about 10 mg of iron in 2 ml of water, or use 2 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 2 ml of dilute sulfuric acid and 1 ml of a 0.1% weight by volume solution of 1,10 phenanthroline. An intense red color is produced. The color is discharged by addition of a slight excess of 0.1 normal ferric ammonium sulfate. Red coloration is due to formation of complex cation. The color discharges by ferric ammonium sulfate due to oxidation of ferrous ion to ferric ion. The second method of identification is as follows. To 1 ml of solution containing not less than 1 mg of iron, or 0.1 ml of the prescribed solution, add 1 ml of potassium ferricyanide solution. A dark blue precipitate is formed that is insoluble in dilute hydrochloric acid and is decomposed by sodium hydroxide solution. The reaction for this method is as under. 3 molecules of ferrous sulfate reacts with potassium ferricyanide, resulting in formation of ferrous ferricyanide, which gives you dark blue precipitate. The third method for identification of ferrous ion is to 1 ml of solution containing not less than 1 mg of iron or to 1 ml of the prescribed solution, add 1 ml of potassium ferrocyanide solution. A white precipitate is formed which rapidly becomes blue and is insoluble in dilute hydrochloric acid. The reaction for this method is as under. 2 molecules of ferrous sulfate reacts with potassium ferrocyanide solution, resulting in formation of ferrous ferrocyanide, which gives us the white precipitate, which when kept aside it gets further oxidized due to oxygen of the air, resulting in the color change from white to blue, that is Persian blue. The next cation which we have to deal here is lead. The first method for its identification is as under. Dissolve 0.1 mg of the sample being examined in 1 ml of dilute acetic acid or use 1 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 2 ml of potassium chromate solution. A yellow precipitate is formed that is insoluble in 2 ml of sodium hydroxide solution. Here, lead chloride reacts with potassium chromate solution to form lead chromate, which yields yellow precipitate. The second method for identification of lead is dissolve 50 mg of the substance being examined in 1 ml of dilute acetic acid or use a 0.5 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 10 ml of water and 0.2 ml of 1 molar potassium iodide. A yellow precipitate forms. Heat to boiling for 1 or 2 minutes and allowed to cool. The precipitate is reformed as glistening yellow pellets. Here lead nitrate when treated with potassium iodide results in lead iodide, which gives you yellow precipitate. Next cation which we have to deal here is magnesium. Its first method of identification is as under. Dissolve about 15 mg of the substance being examined in 2 ml of water or use 2 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 1 ml of dilute ammonia solution. A white precipitate forms that is redissolved by adding 1 ml of 2 molar ammonium chloride. Add 1 ml of 0.25 molar disodium hydrogen phosphate. A white crystalline precipitate forms. Given below is the reaction. The presence of ammonium chloride prevents precipitation due to suppression of dissociation of ammonium hydroxide due to common ion effect. Here ammonium hydroxide dissociates into ammonium ion and hydroxide ion. Ammonium chloride, it dissociates into ammonium ion and chloride ion. Thus, the magnesium ion, ammonium ion, phosphate ion, they all react together in the solution form, resulting in formation of magnesium ammonium phosphate .6H2O that results in formation of the precipitate. The reaction can be understood by taking the various salts which have taken part in the reaction, like magnesium sulfate reacts with sodium hydrogen phosphate, ammonium hydroxide and water molecule, resulting in formation of magnesium ammonium phosphate .6H2O, which gives us the precipitate along with byproduct of sodium sulfate and water molecule. This magnesium ammonium phosphate is the crystalline white precipitate we obtain as the end product. The second method for identification is as follows. To 0.5 ml of neutral or slightly acidic solution of the substance being examined, add 0.2 ml of a 0.1% weight by volume solution of Titan yellow and 0.5 ml of 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide. A bright red turbidity develops, which gradually settles to give a bright red precipitate. The next cation which we have to deal here is potassium. Its identification test is as under. The first identification test is dissolve about 50 mg of the substance being examined in 1 ml of water or use 1 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 1 ml of dilute acetic acid and 1 ml of freshly prepared 10% weight by volume solution of sodium cobalt nitrite. A yellow or orange-yellow precipitate forms. Here is the reaction. 3 molecules of potassium chloride reacts with sodium cobalt nitrite to form potassium cobalt nitrite, which yields orange-yellow precipitate. The second method for identification of potassium ion is dissolve 0.1 gram of the substance being examined in 12 ml of water or use 2 ml of the prescribed solution. Heat the solution with 1 ml of sodium carbonate solution. No precipitate forms. Add 0.05 ml of sodium sulfide solution. Again no precipitate forms. Cool in ice water and add 2 ml of a 15% weight by volume solution of tartaric acid and allow to stand. A white crystalline precipitate forms. The reaction is as under. Potassium chloride reacts with tartaric acid to form potassium tartarate and hydrochloric acid. This potassium tartarate gives a white crystalline precipitate. The third method for identification of potassium is ignite a few milligram of substance being examined, cool and dissolve in minimum quantity of water. To this solution, add 1 ml of platinic chloride solution in the presence of 1 ml of hydrochloric acid. A yellow crystalline precipitate forms, which on ignition leaves a residue of potassium chloride and platinum. Here, platinic chloride reacts with potassium chloride, resulting in formation of potassium chloroplatinate, which gives the yellow precipitate. The next cation which we have to deal here is silver. The first method for its identification is as under. Dissolve 10 mg of the substance being examined in 10 ml of water or use 10 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 0.3 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid. A curdy white precipitate is obtained that is soluble in dilute ammonia solution. Add potassium iodide solution. A yellow precipitate is formed. Here, the reaction taking place is as under. Silver nitrate reacts with sodium chloride to form sodium nitrite and silver chloride. This silver chloride results in formation of curdy white precipitate. When to this precipitate ammonia is being added, it forms silver ammonium chloride, which is a soluble complex. When to this silver ammonium chloride potassium iodide is being added, it results in formation of silver iodide, which gives yellow precipitate. The next method of identification is as follows. Dissolve 10 mg of substance being examined in 10 ml of water or use 10 ml of the prescribed solution and add 2 ml of potassium chromate solution. A red precipitate is formed, which is insoluble in nitric acid. The reaction is as under. 2 molecules of silver nitrate reacts with 1 molecule of potassium chromate, resulting in formation of silver chromate, which gives brick red precipitate. Next cation which we have to deal is sodium. Its first identification method is dissolve 0.1 gram of substance being examined in 2 ml of water or use 2 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 2 ml of a 15% weight by volume solution of potassium carbonate and heat to boiling. No precipitate is formed. Add 4 ml of freshly prepared potassium antimonate solution and heat to boiling. Allow to cool in ice bath and if necessary, scratch the inside of the test tube with a glass rod. A dense white precipitate is formed. The reaction followed here is as under. Sodium chloride reacts with potassium antimonate to form sodium pyroantimonate, which gives white precipitate. The second method of identification of sodium is as under. Acidify a solution of the substance being examined with 1 normal acetic acid and a large excess of magnesium uranyl acetate solution. A yellow crystalline precipitate is formed. The reaction is as under. Sodium chloride reacts with magnesium uranyl acetate to give sodium magnesium uranyl and acetate ion along with hydrochloric acid. This sodium magnesium uranyl yields greenish yellow precipitate. The next cation which we have to deal is zinc. The first method of identification of zinc is as under. Dissolve 0.1 gram of the substance being examined in 5 ml of water or use 5 ml of the prescribed solution. Add 0.2 ml of sodium hydroxide solution. A white precipitate forms. Add a further of 2 ml of sodium hydroxide solution. The precipitate dissolves. Add 10 ml of ammonium chloride solution. The solution remains clear, but a flocculant is observed after some time, resulting in formation of white precipitate on addition of sodium sulfate solution. The reaction for above discussed method is given below. Here zinc chloride reacts with sodium hydroxide to form zinc hydroxide, which yields white precipitate, and when to this white precipitate excess of sodium hydroxide is added, it results in formation of sodium zincate, which is soluble, thus resulting in disappearance of the white precipitate. When this sodium zincate is reacted with hydrogen sulfide, resulting in formation of zinc sulfide, which gives the white precipitate. The second method for identification of zinc is as under. Dissolve 0.1 gram of the substance being examined in 15 ml of water or use 5 ml of the prescribed solution. Acidify with dilute sulfuric acid and add 1 drop of a 0.1% weight by volume solution of copper sulfate and 2 ml of ammonium mercuric thiocyanate solution. A violet precipitate is formed. Copper salt alone do not form a precipitate with ammonium mercury thiocyanate. Zinc ion, if present alone, forms white precipitate. However, in the presence of copper ion, the copper complex co-precipitate with zinc complex, and the violet precipitate consists of mixed crystals of zinc mercuric thiocyanate and copper mercuric thiocyanate. The third method for identification of zinc is dissolve 0.1 gram of substance being examined in 5 ml of water or use 5 ml of the prescribed solution. To this add 2 ml of potassium ferrocyanide solution. A white precipitate is formed, which is insoluble in dilute hydrochloric acid. The reaction for this method is as under. 2 molecules of zinc sulfate reacts with potassium ferrocyanide, resulting in formation of zinc ferrocyanide, which yields the white precipitate. So these are the references from where we have mentioned the procedure and the reaction. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe the channel, like and share, and do comment what you want to see next. Thank you. Bye bye.